What if there was a world where you could actually drive like Tiger? And no, I don't mean behind the wheel. I mean genuine, bona fide, off the tee box driving. Some of you may know the vastly popular video game PGA Tour Golf. If you're like me, you watched your brother buy it secondhand at a GameStop in 2015, play it on his uncle's old GameCube, and have maybe one too many crash shouts about the fact that he double bogeyed another hole. Not everyone had such a forming experience with the game, so I'm going to tell you how PGA Tour, the game, became the impactful media that it is. Following the success of football simulation game Madden NFL, Electronic Arts, or EA, sought to make a new sports video simulation game that would be accessible and fun to even the least of sports enjoyers. For some reason, they chose golf. For some reason, the choice of golf was extremely tactile and lucrative. Well, at least in the 90s. Golf itself posed as a rather simple game logistic, swing and putt. Golf being a solo sport, game developers could focus on beautiful and inventive graphics, animations, and more complex swing mechanics. Why is there another one of me? I'm you, but in a different sweater and with my hair up. Carry on. The first PGA Tour release was a smashing success, being a top seller in 1990, and Electronic Arts followed the release style of Madden games, releasing a new version every year, until 1998. Because something had changed on the PGA Tour. Tiger Woods, arguably the GOAT, or greatest golfer of all time, his impact on the PGA Tour was incredible. Golf was no longer just an old white man's sport. Golf was hip, golf was cool, golf was Tiger Woods. Electronic Arts must have had Scrooge McDuck-sized dollar signs in their eyes as they looked at the rise of this young, successful golfer. In 1998, PGA Tour the game became Tiger Woods PGA Tour 99. Tiger's face was plastered across any branding this game had. At the peak of the game's popularity, Woods was making about $7 million per year on the games alone. Tiger even received his own mobile version of the game that proved to be successful as well. And in 2002, 2004, and 2005, Tiger Woods PGA Tour would be available for purchase on mobile devices. Games were adapted for every major console. Fans often cite the early 2000s as the golden age for these games. PGA Tour 2004, 2005, and 2010 are often regarded by online chat sites as fan favorites, with Tiger Woods PGA Tour 12, the Masters, often being regarded as the most iconic. The release of this game was so heavily anticipated as it was the first game to feature Augusta National, home of the Masters. Augusta National even worked closely with EA Sports to ensure the course was represented in the best possible light. This partnership between Tiger and EA was so lucrative that it ran for almost 15 years, until it came to a close in 2013. In 2013, Tiger Woods garnered media attention for taking an improper drop during the Masters. If you don't know, in golf, there are certain hazards that if you hit into, require you to take a penalty drop and add a stroke to your scorecard. The Masters is the largest, most prestigious golf major of the year. Golf is a sport that prides itself in its self-accountability. There aren't officials standing on every boundary line of every hole. Players are essentially on their own honor code most of the time. Of course, knowing fans and cameras are constantly watching. Tiger ended up being disqualified that year, but admitted he had performed this act unwittingly. This drop wasn't the only event that might have scared EA executives into not renewing Tiger's contract with them. There was his affair in 2009, and his divorce in 2010, and his consistent injuries that often resulted in surgeries, such as tearing his ACL or spraining his wrist. It was clear that the supreme reign of Tiger Woods was crumbling. In 2014, PGA Tour by EA Sports took a break from releasing, making a comeback in 2015 with a new face, Rory McIlroy. McIlroy was a fresh, young kid from Northern Ireland who'd shown a lot of promise. He won 4 majors before the release of his game in 2015. And if you don't know, there are only 5 majors. Rory did not complete his career Grand Slam until last year's Masters in 2025, but he just won the Masters again this year in 2026. So very exciting. Rory is one of the most impressive golfers. So it seemed like a natural transition for Electronic Arts. The game was good, but didn't regard as a standout, making a kind of natural hiatus for the company to take a pause on the series. On March 29th, 2021, EA announced a new PGA game was in development. The game was delayed that May, and by November of 2021, its release date was removed completely. On March 22nd, 2022, another delay to the game was announced. And finally, on January 19th, 2023, a trailer for the game was released, as well as a release date of March 24th, 2023 was announced. The game was delayed once more on March 3rd, before finally being released globally on April 7th, 2023. Other developers such as HB Studios are filling the void of golf simulations with releases like PGA Tour 2K25, but Electronic Arts has not announced any developments for a new PGA Tour game since. In the end, the PGA Tour series by EA Sports holds much nostalgic value for millennials and older Gen Zers who grew up playing the game. Its graphics and visuals were exemplary for their time and pushed boundaries for sports simulation games. It's also a cautionary tale on the reliance of a star athlete. As Tiger Woods' career began to ebb and flow, so did the success of the game that displayed his face largely across the cover. Tiger announced his involvement in the PGA 2K series just before his terrible car wreck in 2021. Woods is reportedly still involved in the funding and creation of the series today, but his face necessarily isn't the front and center like it once was for the PGA Tour by EA in the early 2000s. And they certainly won't go back to him after those DUIs. No, Chasey, they sure won't. But regardless, Tiger Woods and the PGA Tour game provided younger generations with the opportunity to get into the game of golf. The demographic still today is older males, but this renaissance opened doors for golf to become more favorable with younger teens, leading to the popularity in golf we see in young men today. What about the women? Well, that's all we have time for, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you on the flip side.